Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. Somebody sent me a photograph. Well, they sent more than one, and it's a name inside of a snowflake. I can barely read Morgan. I just created it. It's not as cool as theirs, but I can read the Morgan better. And with a little change of the font, I just picked a font, not necessarily cursive, but Gabriola, and it looks pretty good. So what we're going to do, we're going to move these out of the way, and we're going to take well, first of all, we need to create the name and have it together where the letters are touching so we can weld it. I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to grab the shape tool, and I'm going to grab this right here. I'm going to slide all the letters together. I want as much stuff touching as possible. Like I want that part right there touching for sure. Now you can change the letters individually, if you think it's not right. But then if you will take this and weld it, well, we got to go to object and convert it to a curve. Well, we got to go to object. I didn't break the curve apart. And now you can weld it. And well, that's a no-no what I did. So what I need to do, I need to go back here and I need to go to object and I need to break Morgan apart. Now we got 6 individual letters, and now I can go and convert it to a curve and I can weld it. And it's all one piece now, and you can always test it out with the Smart Fill tool to see if it worked. And then you can see if it's kind of readable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Control D and make a duplicate, holding down the control button and getting that 2-sided cross. I'm going to go right here. Now holding down the control button, I'm going to move it up a little bit because I want those two to be like that. Now I'm going to weld it again, and that's going to give me that. So now it's all one piece. So now what I'm going to do, I just used this is a 6-sided polygon. So I'm going to get a 6-sided polygon, holding down the control button so it's symmetrical. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm going to take some lines. I only need to make a couple of lines there and there because I want that shape, but I don't want that point. So I'm going to draw another 6-sided polygon and hit P. Okay, I need to put all of it in the center of the page. This is why I work in the center of the page. Now, we need to get this shape right here, so we're going to take the Smart Fill tool, fill that in and nudge it over, and then I can left click, right click. Now, right now, I'm not going to do anything else except for get the envelope shape. And the more you play with this, I think you could do some things maybe a little bit different. So with that selected, I'm going to go to Object, Envelope Tool, or Effects and Envelope Tool. And I'm going to grab right here to make from form, and I'm going to put it in there. Look at that. So that made our form. Now, I need to hold down the Shift key and select that and go EC or CE. Doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to move it over to now you can see that it doesn't extend past the line, so we need it to extend past the line, but we also need to take this line away. Come on, computer. Well, it would help if the operator would hit the right button. Okay, now I'm going to need to take this line and make it thick. I'm using somebody else's program or file. Normally I use hairline. I'm going to go 0.28 thickness. I'm going to go a little bit thicker, 0.025. I'm going to go to Object, convert the outline to an object, and I'm going to left click, and I'm going to right click in red so we can see the difference. So now you can see that my end touches just ever so fine. I'm going to change this to a hairline. I should have changed it before I started the video. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this 6-sided polygon. I'm going to make it that 0.31. I'm going to go to object and convert it to an outline. You've got to do this to make this work. Now I'm going to convert that to a hairline. Normally I draw in hairline, so it would already be done. You know what? I really need those lines back in. So let's draw those lines. Well, you know what? We can just take this and nudge it over. I need to make my Morgan a little bit bigger so it touches up here. There's a lot I could do with this. Tell you what, let's take this and make it a hairline. And see, it's just not quite touching enough. So now I'm going to grab my Morgan, holding down my shift key, I'm going to get the two-sided arrow and see what it does. It makes it grow in both directions. So now I can take this away. I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring in indexing lines, Control D to make a duplicate, double click on it and move it to the center of the page. And I'm going to rotate it 60 degrees. Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. Now there's a lot more you could do. You know, you could make it fancier like they did just by picking another font. But now I'm going to select it all and weld it. And it worked perfectly. So if you turn it into something that looks like wood, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to actually have to zoom in to get on one of those lines. And the thickness would all be determined by the size of your object. Takes a little while because it's filling up everything. See how everything's connected? Because we welded it. So that's what it's going to look like out of wood. I actually think it looks better. It's more readable. But you know, pick another font, play around with it. The only other thing you need to do is put a hanger in there. So let's take that back and just go right here and take an ellipse. Why? That would bug me if I had to do that all the time. Take this and put it right there. Go ahead and take another ellipse, and depending on, you know, how big you want it, you know, how big, whatever, if you're going to use a piece of wire or a ribbon. Now, instead of welding it, I'm just going to take my virtual segment delete key. I'm going to delete that line. That line. Come on. The two inside lines. And the bottom line. I don't know why. The indexing line stops it. So there's my hanger. And it looks really good. I don't know if it's big enough. I don't even know how big this is. You know, that's pretty good size. You would just need to adjust your hole, and then instead of, you know, welding it, just use your smart fill tool, fill that in, and it's going to weld it basically for you, because then you're going to, that way your eyelet for your hanger will be incorporated into the item, and then just take it and move it out of the way. And then just kind of get rid of this one, and you can see our hanger is still left. So hit P, put it in the center of the page, and then left click, right click. Just make sure it's a hairline to cut out. I think it looks pretty good. But, you know, try it with a different font. But it's going to be strong enough, you know, because you got all these places holding it. Anyway, I hope that gave them some ideas, and thank you for watching.